Alrighty. How's it going, everybody? Welcome to Learn to Defend Cyber. My name is Joseph. Today we are going to be working on Day 5 of TryHackMe's Advent of Cyber. We've got something special today. I'll go ahead and pivot over to the view so you can see what's going on here. We are going to be exploiting XXE in web apps. Now, I have to admit that I don't know much about XXEs. And until I really spun up the machine, I didn't know what XXE stood for. So we can see XXEs here are XML external entities. Now, we're gonna dig in here and figure out what that is. Again, as I said, I don't really know much about this, so I'm excited to learn what this is and figure out what we can do with it and what it does. And you see it's a red team activity today. I've already got our VM up and running, so let's go ahead and dive into it. We've got some more story. The days in Wareville flew by and the software's projects were nearly complete just in time for Christmas. One evening, after wrapping up work, Software was strolling through the town. They came across a young boy looking dejected. Curious, Software asked, "What would you like for Christmas?" The boy replied with a sigh, "I wish for a teddy bear. I know my family can't afford one." This brief conversation sparked an idea in Software's mind. What if there was a platform where everyone in town could share their Christmas wishes, and the mayor's office could help make them come true? Excited by the potential, Software introduced the idea to Mayor Malware, who embraced it immediately. The mayor encouraged the team to build the platform for the people of Wareville. Through the developers' dedication and effort, the platform was soon ready and became an instant hit. The townspeople loved it. However, in their rush to meet the holiday deadline, people had overlooked something critical. Through security testing, even Mayor Malware had chipped in. They overlooked something critical. Thorough security testing. Even Mayor Malware had chipped in to help develop a feature in the final hours. Now it's up to you to ensure the application is secure and free of vulnerabilities. Can you guarantee that the platform runs safely for the people of Wareville? Let's find out. So let's figure out what we have going on here. Understand the basic concepts related to XML, extensible markup language. Explore XML external entities, it's a little hard to say, XXE, and its components. Learn how to exploit the vulnerability and understand remediation measures. In my opinion, and this is, call me a nerd, blue teamer talk here, I think that understanding how to remediate this is probably the most important part, right? The whole reason pen testers exist and ethical hackers exist is to help businesses and help companies with the software they have, or maybe the environments they have, and improve upon them and make them safer. So even if you know how to exploit the vulnerability all day, great, you could be the best person at exploiting it. But if you don't know how to understand how to actually remediate it, which if you know how to exploit it, it kind of self-explains how to remediate it, right? So, but if you don't know that, then it's a little pointless as to why you're exploiting it. So let's go ahead and figure out. So let's look at some XML concepts here. XML is commonly used method to transport and store data in structured format that both humans and machines can easily understand. Its alternative is JSON, I want to say. Consider a scenario where two computers need to communicate and share data. Both devices need to agree on a common format for exchanging information. The agreement format, known as XML. You can think of XML as a digital filing cabinet. Now, that is true. Just as a filing cabinet has folders with labeled documents inside, XML uses tags to label and organize information. And we can see some example XML here. And this is kind of what it's talking about when it says that it's like a filing cabinet, right? You have a category. The category is people. Then in that category, you have something that describes it, right? So we have a nice visual here, thankfully. You can see where we have the category of people. So the drawer is labeled people. Then inside of that drawer, you have documents labeled phone, email, address, name. And those documents have different information. And we can see, if you're familiar with HTML, it's kind of similar. You have opening and closing tags, then opening and closing tags for the category. The tags are people, name, address, etc., like folders. Just as we explained, the contents inside of the tags. You can see how the content is in between the tags right here. Is the actual data being stored. Key benefit of XML is that it's easily shareable and customizable. Document type definition. All right. Now that the two computers have agreed to share the data in a common format, what about the structure of the format? Here's where DTD comes into play. It's a set of rules that defines the structure of an XML document. Just like a database scheme, it acts like a blueprint telling you what elements, or tags, and attributes are allowed in the XML file. Think of it a guideline that ensures the XML document follows a specific structure. For example, if we want to ensure that an XML document about people will always include these categories, we would define those rules through the DTD seen here. So basically you define people, and then you define what is allowed in people. And then we have entities. So far, both computers have agreed on the format, the structure of the data, and what data is in there. Entities in XMLs are placeholders that allow insertion of large chunks of data or referencing internal or external files. They assist in making XML file easy to manage, especially when the same data is repeated multiple times. So we have an example of an external entity reference data from the external file or resource in the following code. The entity and xt semicolon could refer to an external file located at tryhackmerobots.txt. And we could see this is where the entity points to that robots.txt. We are discussing external entities because it is one of the main reasons that XXE is introduced if not properly managed. Now, let's figure out what XXE is. It's not a term I'm very familiar with, and if you're not familiar with it either, that's fine. We're going to learn about it today. That's one of the things I love about the advent of cyber, is that it exposes you to a lot of things that you may not see every day. I definitely don't see XXE every day. After understanding XML and how entities work, we can now explore the XXE vulnerability. XXE is an attack that takes advantage of how XML parses external entities. When a web application processes an XML file that contains an external entity, the parser attempts to load or execute whatever resource that entity points to. So, if necessary sanitization is not in place, the attacker may point the entity, that's what I was going to say, may point the entity to malicious source code, causing undesired behavior. So I could definitely see how this can be taken advantage of. If you point it towards a GitHub repo that maybe has a reverse shell, it would load that reverse shell, right? For example, if a vulnerable XML parser processes this external entity definition, file etc password. Here, the entity refers to a sensitive file on a system. When the XML is processed, the parser will try and display the contents of the file, exposing sensitive information. All right. So we can use it to do some server-side actions too, it seems. So maybe more so we would want to try. Maybe we would want to try and get it to load a reverse shell. There's a few ways we could take advantage of it, right? I already started the machine because I read while I usually come to this now to see what we need to do. I read that it does take a couple minutes up, so I'm going to go ahead and look at what's going on. Richard Duff in chat, how you doing? Missed the first streams. I'm usually on Team Replay for the first 4 days of the week, but I got someone to link the channel for me. Oh, awesome. Well, welcome. Welcome in. Thank you for joining. And no worries about missing them. I do them right at 5 Eastern time, so it's pretty inconvenient for most people, but it's a free moment for myself. So Team Replay is always very, very welcome. You get just as much value, but I'm happy to have you here live. So thank you for dropping in. So we got the machine started up. And now that we understand XML and what an XXE is, We will analyze an application that allows us to add and view products to a cart and perform the checkout activity. Let's go ahead and navigate to this website over here that they give us. And let's go to Firefox. Load this up. Here's our rules that they give us, by the way. It is thinking hard about Firefox. Bit tired, gotta wake up the kids, got a hospital visit. Oh, I'm hoping everything's okay. Sorry to hear about that hospital visit. All right. So here's the website. This is where we have our assumingly vulnerable XML application, or XML in here somewhere. As a pen tester, it is important to first analyze the flow of the application. First, the user will browse through the products and add items of interest to their wish list at product.php. Click on the Add to Wishlist under Jolly's cap. All right. Add to wish list. Let's get this in here. We want this cap. We want this hat. It's very Christmassy. Everything we want. Okay. After adding products to the wish list, click the cart button or visit the cart.php. We got cart up here. We can see that we do have it in our cart. One of these days I'll be finished milking cows and getting into IT/cyber. It takes a lot to break in sometimes. It's as much luck as it is hard work. A lot of people don't like to acknowledge the luck, but it is luck and hard work. But if you put the hard work in, then the luck will make itself. That's one of the things I learned very early on. I'm holding out hope for you. It's tough for a lot of people right now, and you know, once you break into cyber, you'll be able to post on LinkedIn or on the Discord, the Simply Cyber Discord, and share that win with everybody and be celebrated by the community. Doing Network Chuck CCNA. CCNA is a good one. It's a good one. I know people will talk about getting the trifecta, which is the A+, Net+, and Sec+. I usually try and recommend the CCNA over the Net Plus because it's far more practical. But if you learn the CCNA, then you will learn the Net Plus essentially at the same time. The skills translate even though it's branded. All right. So we can proceed to checkout. Go to our checkout here, checkout.php. And then we can enter our name and address. Okay. We are Tyler Ram. I always spell his name wrong. That's fine. I'm gonna spell it wrong anyways, just for the lulz. We are Tyler Ramsey. Double check. Make sure I spelled it wrong. You'll love it. Oh, I spelled it right trying to spell it wrong. Dang. See? There we go. Spell it wrong for him. And we are located... where are we located? We're located at King of Hacker Hill Lane. And we can see that our wish has been saved as Wish 21. Yes, celebrating. Will be very fun. And Mariana's here. How's it going, Mariana? Welcome. All right. So what does it want us to do with this? Wish 21 indicates that wishes placed by users on the website. Once I click it, we'll see a forbidden page. Let's see if we get that forbidden page. Yep. So it seems that we need higher privileges to view this. Only Santa's elves can read the wishes. Before discussing exploiting XXE on the website, let's learn how to intercept the request. So it's going to want us to use burp, as you can see right here. Let's go ahead and use burp. Burp Suite, great tool. Very, very widely used. Go ahead and spin it up here. And while that's loading, we can go ahead and keep reading so we have next steps. Once we click the icon, Burp Suite will open with an introductory screen. That's where we make our case, have our project, whatever it is we're doing. We're probably just going to click on through that and do a temporary project. On the next screen, we will be able to start Burp. And then we have what I consider to probably be the 3 main tools in Burp. There's a lot of them. There's a lot of different uses for Burp, but these are the 3 that I always ever use for CTFs, proxy, intruder, repeater. And then, yeah, so they're wanting us to use the, here we go, we can go back over here. Go ahead and start it. Doing a temporary project in memory. We're not going to save this because we're not coming back to it. If you were saving it, that's where you could use all of your options to name it, and save it, choose drive location, all the good stuff, right? Yes, Burp Suite's a great tool to learn, Mariana. It's a great tool. It's something that I'm having to learn a little bit more because I have to take the Pen Test Plus. So I don't know if Pen Test Plus necessarily deals with Burp Suite per se, but it's good to know anyways, right? So they want us to go into the settings. If you ever use Burp and you want to use the interceptor and you want to use the open browser function, we have to go here in the settings. We have to go to Burp's browser, and then we have to allow Burp to run without using a sandbox. Not typically recommended. It's actually a lower security option versus your standard use of Burp, but it does allow us to open the browser that is built into Burp Suite. So give it a moment while it loads that browser. Usually takes a moment. I will be right back in just one second. Alright, sorry about that. Dog was making some noise. I was making sure the dog was okay. Alright. So here's that browser for Burp. We opened 2 of them. We definitely don't need 2 of them. And we're going to go ahead and go to that website from earlier in Burp. Oops. I copied that apparently. We got to recopy our IP address here. Now, at first, and this is something that I had to figure out when I first used Burp, because I kind of just dove into using Burp. I didn't look up any kind of tutorials. I had to figure out why I made the GET request, right? The website should be loading. Well, Intercept does exactly what it sounds like it does, and it stops the traffic. It's not going to do anything unless you hit this forward button. It's self-explanatory, but I wasn't thinking about it the first time I used it. So here we are. We made it to the website. We saw our GET request earlier. And sorry, I just want to have Burp pulled back up over here. We can see our HTTP history back here. See all the things that it does. See how we're loading that snow effect that's going on in the background, the index, the favicon, all of the good stuff. So, okay, yep, it tells us about the HTTP history right here. Perfect. What is happening on the back end? Now let's go ahead and actually look at that. So let's view. We can go to our product PHP. It's getting intercepted, so I'm going to have to forward it. Okay. And we are in the product PHP. And we can see here what happens in our request. So what's going on here? Looks like a lot, right? Quite a bit of things going on. Oh, and here we go. We have the command send the XML data. Quite a few things going on here. Okay. So there's a lot to look at, right? But because today we're interested in XML, let's see what they want us to do. Okay. They want us to go ahead and add it to the wish list, see what's going on. You can see the wish list here. We have our what looks to be XML. Category is wish list. We have our user ID, the item's product ID. Pretty simple, right? And it will accept the code and parse it using the following code that we saw earlier. And here is where we get into the more complicated hands-on part, right? We're about to craft our payload. When a user sends specially crafted XML data to the application, the line libxml disable entity loader false allows the XML parser to load external entities. This means the XML input can handle external file references or requests to the remote server. It is then processed by that XML load string with the libxml noent option. The web app resolves the external entities, allowing attackers to attack sensitive files or access sensitive files, or allowing them to make unintended requests to the server. What if we update the XML request to include preferences for external entities? We will use the following XML instead of the above XML. Defining our XML version, the doc type, payload, wishlist. We'll go ahead and copy that, and we'll inject that into our HTTP. Let's add it to our wish list. We'll have our XML here. We can replace this. Right? We got it replaced. And let's forward it, see what happens. Product ID for 127.01 localhost. Oh, we saw it pop up. Disappeared before we could read it all. But we should be able to grab that information in just a moment. Now switch to the repeater tab. Oh, it wanted us to do this a little differently. Okay. So it wants us to use repeater, allows us to send multiple HTTP requests and duplicate our HTTP posts. Send it multiple times, exploit the vulnerability. Right click on the wishlist PHP, post request, and click send to repeater. So we'll go into burp here. We'll do HTTP. We have our post to wishlist, and we can send this to repeater. Just right click it, goes to repeater. And we can see our request. And this is where we can do this exploit that we were doing earlier multiple times. I'm going to have to recopy this code. Make sure I don't have that double left facing arrow so I don't mess things up on accident. And then we can send it and get our response. And this is the response that it output earlier, right? Following lines are desirable for IPv6 capable hosts. Tells us a bunch of different IP addresses. Now, if we were doing this in real life on a machine, It would probably give us more information about the internal structure, but because we are doing a lab, it's just we're running this on localhost, right? Tell us a little bit more about what's going on this localhost. Here is where they are going into the repeater tab and editing that post. Yep, we pasted the post already. When we click send, it'll reference the Etsy host and give us some information about the host. Okay. Oh, it's okay. If it's referencing Etsy host, then it's just looking at the maybe internal DNS a little bit. Maybe if they have a special hidden website that they have DNS resolvable, then they would have it in their host file. Looks intimidating, lots of info, so I'm glad you're doing. Thank you. All right, well, take it easy, Richard Duff. Have a good time, and thank you for showing up. Okay. Hope everything at the hospital goes well, by the way. Genuinely. Hope everything is well. Let's continue on with what we have going on here. Now that we've identified a vulnerability, as in it does accept our modified PHP, or our modified XML, sorry, we are tasked with finding loopholes. Take it a step further and assess the potential impact of the vulnerability. Earlier, we discovered a page only accessible by administrator, and that would be a great target to go and look at, so let's see if we can get there, right? Let's recall the page only accessible by admins. It was that wishes.wish1.txt. We need to guess the potential absolute path of the file. Typically, web applications are hosted in the var www.html. And let's go ahead and take this here. And we are going to have it spit out the information in that .txt. So let's replace our earlier code with this code and run it and see what we get. All right. So we see that we have Mare malware with address of test, and they want the Werdy Kane quantity of 1. We got lucky that our assumption worked, that everything was in the right spot, so let's see if we can look around and see anything else. Maybe they want us to look at wish2.txt, so we can go and see what the second wish is. And we get another one from Mare malware. This is probably when he was making the application, right? And we can check all 21. We were wish 21, remember that. So we have 20 wishes we could go through. And that would be, that's potential impact. That's going to be a confidentiality impact, right? When you think about impacts that vulnerabilities could have, there are 3 main affected things. We call it the CIA triad: confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Being able to list out what's going on in that file that's only supposed to be accessed by administrators, that's a confidentiality impact. And we got the GRC, so may as well go into the GRC a little bit, right? Oh boy, we got people trickling in now. We got BSEC, Justin, Kimberly. What's going on? Welcome in, everybody. All right. So now that we've exposed that we can just look at whatever wish we want, let's figure out... Okay, they explain how we can disable this. The primary fix is to disable the loading in the XML parser. You can prevent it by setting the flag to true, where you disable that entity loader, and then validate and sanitize input. Being honest, you can You can prevent a lot of web app vulnerabilities by validating and sensitizing input. There's a lot of different ways to do it. Remove suspicious keywords like Etsy host, Etsy password. There's quite a few ways to do it, right? After discovering the vulnerability, McSkitty immediately remembered that a changelog file exists within the web application stored at the following. On the endpoint, we can see that somebody pushed vulnerable code within the application after the software's team. That would be Mr. Mayor Malware, who we're seeing is not quite a jolly fellow. Oh, Tyler's here. Tyler, when I made my wish earlier, I made sure that I purposely misspelled your name, and you wished for a hat, by the way. I would like to let you know. Tyler's here to hack the stream and take everything over. But McSkitty can't confirm whether or not the mayor intentionally made the application vulnerable. Maybe he's like me and he just sucks at coding. But the mayor is already suspicious, and McSkitty began to formulate those theories about possible involvement. So what does the flag discover after navigating through the wishes? So they want us to iterate through and look through all the wishes. So let's go ahead and do that. We saw earlier it's as simple as just typing in the next wish. See that Mayor Malware, looking for a Werdy cane. Werdy cane. We got here wish 4. Same thing. 5. Only 21 of them. 6. I'm sure there's probably a faster, leet way to do this, but we're going to do it the slow and not leet way. Tyler's going to root every box even if he doesn't need to. I seriously. Use interpreter. Interceptor, you mean? We're on repeater right now. Ah, Chris is here. What's going on, Chris? Welcome. Love to see everybody here. All right, well, let's read document number 9. He's still looking for a Werdy cane. We're on wish 10, same thing. 11. And 12. One of these has to have it, surely. It's going to end up being number 20, because that's the last one we look at, and they just want to see me type through all of these. You can set a payload for numbers and automate it with burp. A cool guy named Tyler shows in the official walkthrough. Yeah, you should watch the official walkthrough if you want to see a cool guy do it. If you want to see somebody bumble their way through Burp Suite, you can stick around. Ah, and here we go. We have the flag right here on payload number 15, or wish number 15. THM brute forcing my way. I would love to see how we can automate that, so I'm definitely going to check out Tyler's stream, the official walkthrough up here, where you can watch a real red teamer do it instead of watching a blue teamer who flirts with the red side do things. I don't even use burp, I just manually do everything with curl commands because you're a real hacker. He does everything. He does everything from the command line because he's a real hacker. I'm watching this with curl right now. Yeah, he's actually pulling every packet down one by one, watching it one frame at a time. What is a flag seen on the passable proof of sabotage? So we saw that the proof of sabotage was in that changelog earlier. So let's go ahead and grab that HTTP and just paste it in here. I think this is still in the interceptor, so I might have to click through it, but that's fine. Yeah, it is. Go ahead and forward it. Let it go. And we have the flag right here. They went ahead and pasted it in here. We'll go ahead and grab that, throw it in there. And then they give us a couple more rooms where we can learn more about XXE, which I definitely want to do, because before today I can say with certainty that I wasn't the most familiar with it, but this is a pretty good example of what goes on. And we'll go ahead and hit complete. And then following McSkitty's advice, software recently hardened the server. It used to have many unneeded open ports, but not anymore. Not that this matters anyways. I think it matters personally. Having unnecessary open ports, that's a bad thing to have happen. That's how you can have services just be accessed that really don't need to be accessed, and then be taken advantage of by people like Tyler, who watch videos with the curl command and do leet automations. So let's see. I don't want to just play. XXE is a cool vuln. I've had it in a real web app that allowed me to set up a C2 server with malicious DTD and then do full file read on the victim web server. I think the full XXE room on THC walked through this attack. Okay, let's see. We'll go ahead and bring it up. I think it's definitely a cool thing to learn. I thought it was interesting, and I want to look into it more. We can go ahead and get rid of this. We don't need the split view. But this is going to teach us more about XML. And if you want to do web app pen testing, learning XML, JSON, those kinds of things, very, very, very necessary. Server-side request forgery. So I would assume that this is the one you are talking about. Did you make this room, Tyler? Usually says who it's made by. No, doesn't look like you did. I bet that last line is going to something we're going to be looking for ports. Actually, or BSEC, I think that last line is for the side quest. Yeah, the exploding XXE out of band is what I'm referring to. Awesome. Well, we will definitely give this a look at some point. Let's see. We can go ahead and walk through it now and see kind of what it talks about, but has nothing to do with today's Advent of Cyber, even though, well, I mean, it has everything to do with it, but it's just a different room entirely. So don't go thinking that you need to do this too. Talk about more about what XML is. It's derived from SGML. Same standard that HTML is based on. That's why it looks very similar with the open and close brackets. Also known as angle brackets by people who actually know what they're called. Come in pairs with the opening and closing tags. And this is what we were talking about earlier, those DTDs. And we talk more about entities. So this is definitely, if you weren't comfortable with what happened today, absolutely check out this room, because this is everything that we just explained, but in further depth. So very, very interesting. As for today's challenge, I have a very, very strong feeling that this is probably to do with the side quest. I would dig into it, but there's a strict no side quest on stream or video rule going on. And I don't have much I can explain about this. I would absolutely encourage that you go check out Tyler's video on today and his streams in general, because they're very good. We'll bring up his channel here. Made sure we have it. I'm not subscribed on this one. I'll go ahead and subscribe on this account. But he did make the walkthrough for today. I'm going to watch it. I'm going to watch it probably while I eat dinner or make dinner. And I encourage that you do too, because he's going to explain it much better than I do. And with that, I'm probably going to go ahead and close it out. Today was a little short. It was a shorter room today, which is surprising. I thought it would have been longer because I saw we were going to be playing with XML, and I got a little nervous. I'm not going to lie. Before I jumped on camera, I'm like, oh boy. Everybody's going to see me do a red team challenge and hit the unsubscribe button. Do an Nmap scan of the box. I don't know, BSEC. I don't know if that's considered doing the side quest. I can do it. I can do a quick one, but I don't want to do too much. The quick little end map, right? That's not doing the CTF. I'm just seeing what's there. You can close that out. What's the IP address? We'll do a quick one. Quick little end map for fun. While BSEC tries to get me banned. So we'll do just a quick end map. Nothing crazy. Oh, I left the not mean to do that. Grab the whole IP address. I didn't mean to grab the service handle as well. They are strict on that. I accidentally showed the side quest on like day 1 and got a message. Yeah, I was playing around with the side quest as well. And you can see that they have SSH open, which you could totally go from there and I'm sure do stuff that we're not going to talk about because I don't want to toy with accidentally revealing the side quest. It's just a quick little end map. You know, I wasn't doing anything malicious, just seeing what's there. Seeing what it's like, knocking on the door. See who answers. We had Port 22 answer. Do with that what you will. Looking at you, Tyler, who wants to go full root on every box in the challenge. Like the other day when you had that PHP shell and you ran right past the flag trying to get root. It was a great time. I'd guess you have to use XXE to find ports only open internally. That's another option. That's another way to look at it. We looked at external facing ports. You can see what's going on inside as well. Do I have all notifications? No, I don't, but I do now. Watch this. Boom. Even though I have that selected on my main channel that I actually use every day for communication and watching videos, I'm going to go ahead and do it on this one too that I'll never get the notification from, but that's fine. It's enabled, and if you don't have it enabled, you should too. But thank you for tuning in. Before I go any further, probably qualifies as a hint, but I don't even know myself. Hey. It was not Tyler Ramsey. It was Tyler Ramsey's evil twin, Ryler Tamsey, who doesn't know what they're talking about. I also don't see Simply Cyber and sub. Okay, look, again, this is an account that I use just for streaming, so I don't want to hear it. I'm subbed on my main account. I've been subbed for a long time. Alright. I will catch y'all later. Thank you for tuning in. I'm excited for day 6. I hope we get some more red team stuff because that's the content that I'm actually not the most comfortable with and that I would love to learn more about. The blue team stuff has been fun, but I would love to see a little more red sprinkled in. I'm sure we're gonna get it. I'm sure we're gonna get plenty of it, and I'm sure you're all gonna point and laugh as I struggle my way through it. But that's the only way you learn. So, thank you. Have a good night.